JKB back with another episode. Today I'm reviewing Blaster Master Zero on the show. Thank you to Sunsoft, which is insane to say, for sending over the review copy. If you don't know what Blaster Master is, this is something that has been around for quite some time. I actually reviewed it for the Nintendo Entertainment System, no English today, a long time ago on my channel. And when I found out that this was coming out for the Nintendo Switch, I thought, oh my, what? I have to get this. So what it is essentially a soft reboot of the original game. This is the classic retro vibe that you've been craving, especially for Nintendo Switch because there's no virtual console at the moment. To have a game that's in 8-bit like this, with, you know, some added effects to it, is just, it's so fun to play it. In terms of the gameplay and the story, of course it's going to follow the original game, but they change it a little bit. So you play a, this is the thing about my reviews, I don't like giving away a lot of things. Let's just say that this is classic sort of 80s cheese that is pure nostalgia for me. So you play as a scientist who's very young, and he stumbles across some sort of frog, and he kind of befriends it and wants to be friends with it, and he's never seen a frog like this. This is insane that I'm saying this, but he's a scientist that finds a frog, and the frog goes through a warp hole, and then they find a giant sort of tank-like vehicle named Sophia the Third. And he jumps in that to go looking for his frog in an underground world. Okay, that's the story. It's pure insanity. It's got that classic Nintendo vibe to it. The classic, I should say, retro vibe to it. And the gameplay itself is split between side-scrolling portions and bird's eye view. It's going to bring back some real nostalgia. For the people that played Nintendo that are over the age of 25, 30 years old, you're going to really enjoy playing this game because it's got the classic side-scrolling, kind of feels like Mega Man to a certain degree. However, your ship is a little light. So when you're jumping around, it's not essentially that perfect Mega Man feel, but the ship has two wheels that sort of have a shock, sort of absorbing system. So it feels a little awkward right off the bat, and you will definitely be falling into pits, accidentally dying. However, this is something that's cool. You can actually get outside of your Sophia vehicle as Jason, you know, me. I'll just say it's me in the game, but the character Jason in the game puts on this suit, and he jumps out of the tank, and you're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. And it's cool because now you're outside of the tank in side-scroll mode, but you can go into areas that are only accessible as the character. You can't take the tank with you, and once you do that, you can get into unlockable areas, but this is where it gets really cool for me personally. You go into a cave and you push up, just like a classic Nintendo game, and it takes you to a bird's eye view of it. What the hell's going on? All of a sudden you're playing as Jason in a bird's eye view, and it kind of feels like a twin stick shooter, except you're just using the left analog stick on your Joy-Con. And now you're playing a totally different game. I mean, it's totally different. You fight bosses in this mode, you break down rocks, you're fighting other little enemies that are coming around, and this is where you kind of get the idea of the game. You're going to be looking for the frog, but it's a lot like Metroid in the sense that you're going to be backtracking, a ton of it. So you're going to be going into these caves, you're going to be coming out of the caves with unlockables, and you've beaten a boss, and now you have some sort of extra ability on Sophia, and you just progress through the story, upgrading, using different weapons. It's a lot of fun, guys. It's a lot of fun. And when I first turned on my Switch, I thought, I'll be playing with my Pro Controller because of the D-pad, right? Oh no, guess what? Not supported, which is like obscene. It's what? How much did we pay for these fucking controllers, and I can't even use it on a game that's $9.99 in the States? You guys can't patch this? Really, Sunsoft? Really? Let's fix this problem. I want to use my D-pad. However, I'll say that the Joy-Con controller works fine enough, but like I said, Sophia, the tank itself, is a little tricky to control, especially when you're on like little sections of the map and you're trying to jump around and everything. So, in closing, should you be picking this game up? Well, there are problems with the game. Like I said, I can't use the D-pad on my Pro Controller, and that's kind of a big deal for me because I like to play my classic retro games with the D-pad and it's not supported. However, I'm not going to take points off of the game just because I can't use a certain controller. Yeah, it's disappointing. However, the nostalgia in this game is spectacular, and you know, I don't want to give away into the story, but they've actually fixed some of the silliness of the original game, and they've changed it up because it is essentially a soft reboot of the first game. You might have played the first game and you see a lot of the first game in this, but you're going to run into a lot of cool things that are unique to it. So it has the side-scrolling, it has the upgrades. As you go through it, you're going to get better missiles for the tank, switch those out. One cool feature I have to bring up is that if you have your second Joy-Con with you, which you'll always have, because guess what? That's the awesome ability of the system, multiplayer. The second player can just hop into multiplayer with you, and you can use the second Joy-Con as an aiming reticle on the screen, which will let you have sort of a backup. So when you're running around these missions, you'll have a reticle moving around shooting enemies and also dropping power-ups for you. So you can kind of team up on all the enemies and the bosses if you want to do multiplayer. And, you know, some people are going to be like, that's multiplayer? That's kind of shit. Sure, it's very, very, very simple multiplayer, but I gotta say, the Switch does some amazing things in multiplayer for other games, or at least in the future it will, like Mario Kart and, you know, whatever. But the point here is, at least they kind of added something to it, and it's actually a lot of fun to be second player in a retro game like this, to have the vibe of like playing the original Nintendo game, but having the two players and doing it anywhere, again, awesome. So in closing, I'm going to say that this is definitely, for $10, a must-own for the system. If you're a retro fan, you have to go pick it up. Yes, of course it's like clunky with the Joy-Con, doesn't support the Pro Controller. However, the music, the gameplay, the upgrades will, you know, and it's not an easy game. Backtracking like you did in Metroid, not easy at all. Gotta give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's a must-own for the Nintendo Switch, definitely. Hope that they do patch it so I can use my D-pad on my Pro Controller. Thank you so much for watching this episode of JKB. I'll be back soon. Love you lots. I don't know, the fucking worst exit ever.